Alrighty, so if you saw the first video, you saw this. Hello, today is February the 11th, Saturday. I'm Kathleen. This is Kathleen's Trot and Trail. This is my second video of the day. My first video was me blabbering on forever and showing you finishes and some gifts and, you know, good stuff. I would like to spend some time talking about whips. So hopefully you've watched the first video and you have all the life updates. I'm not going to go into any of that stuff now. And if you don't really care about life updates, you don't really even have to watch that first video. You can just fast forward through the whips or through the finishes if you want to see those. Okay, so these are in no particular order, kind of in the order that they were sitting over by my stitchy spot. But I kind of mentioned that I want to always have a large and a few smalls going, and this is a good representation of my large and my few smalls. So I mentioned in the first video that Noel sampler, which I finished this past Christmas, right around Christmas, I think, is, or maybe a little before Christmas, was one of my oldest whips, and this is probably. It's always nice when your phone falls off the... that's the other thing I'm doing different this time around is I am filming on my phone. I'm hoping that will make... My phone is newer, is newer than my iPad, and so I'm hoping that will make the upload maybe go a little better. I don't know. Anyway, this is probably the next oldest sampler that I have. And it is a Plum Street sampler. Let me find the picture. Plum Street sampler, pink. It's called Pink House Sampler. I was inspired to do this by Saltbuck Stitcher, Carol. She finished it several years ago. She finished it or started it, and I went out and bought it. We used to live in a pink house. Our house in Kansas City was at the end of a long road out in the country, and it was a pink house. And so I thought, oh, I have to do this. I did this in honor, memory, or whatever of my aunt, Genevieve. She was my dad's oldest sister. When I was tiny, I thought she was my grandmother. She lived with my grandparents, but my grandmother died when I was about 6 months old. And then she stayed on and lived there with my grandfather and took care of him until he passed away. And so when I was very tiny, I thought she was my grandmother. And then at some point, they informed me that she was my aunt, not my grandmother. But I was always very close to her. She was a great lady. She had been through a lot in her lifetime. And she was really, truly one of the greats. So I did this in honor of her. And I am so close. The grass, as you can tell from the picture, that grass is never ending. All the flowers are done. I have all the flowers done. And now it's just a matter of fill in the grass. I think since you last saw it, let me see. I finished the words at the top. And let's see, I think I had her name all in. And I worked a little bit more on this border over here on what would be your left-hand side. I really don't enjoy those borders, but they're really not that bad. I don't know, they're just kind of tedious. I need to finish the border at the top. I need to finish the grass, and then I need to finish the border at the bottom, which is, the border itself is done. It's just I have to fill in a bunch more sheep, and I think one more star. But it is definitely getting there. I'm doing this with all of the called for. I don't know. Let me see if I have I don't have what the fabric is. It's probably the called for. I think I kitted this up at Julie's, with everything. So I love it. It's awesome. It has a lot fewer mistakes than Noel sampler had, and I'm not really sure why. For some reason, Noel sampler had so many big errors in it that I, just fudged. This does not. The borders have been working out, meeting up. Yeah, I love it. I'm excited to get that done. I will probably have that professionally framed, only because that fabric, it almost feels like a week's. It's pretty loosey-goosey, and I think it's gonna take some experience to frame it. Okay, sticking with large things. The next thing, I think this was a market release from last year, another Plum Street sampler. This is the day. Looks like this. Another pink house. I'm not doing this because of the pink house. I'm just doing this because I loved the colors in general. I don't know. I always tell people that blue is my favorite color, but I think my favorite color has more to do with what time of year it is than what my favorite color really is, because I have been in the last few weeks very much drawn to pink, and pinks and, you know, like corals and oranges and light red and those kind of colors, bright greens. I think it's because, you know, it's yuck outside, and yeah. So I started this as soon as I got it. It's I'm using all of the called for, which is all as per most of Paulette's charts. It's a bunch of classic color works, or a few classic color works and some DMC combination. Is there any weeks in here? I don't think there are any weeks in here. So it's about half and half DMC classic color works. The house is really fun. I love doing bricks like that. Sorry, I like literally have my needle in here, just stuck in there. So most of this was done last year when I first got it. And then this little border down here is so cute. So I'd like to get Pink House Sampler done, and I'd like to have Rejoice done by the end of spring. I don't know if that's really doable. And that's probably also one that I would leave out all year round, even though it's very much, very, very springy. Okay, then as far as a small, Priscilla has been doing the city seasonal smalls, and she does 4 charts as well as, let's see, 4 charts as well as the letters for whatever season it is. And I think she started with Christmas and then did a Valentine one and is now doing a spring one. And so it was City Christmas, and then the letters were Christmas. And then she did City Valentine, and the letters were maybe Valentine. I don't know. I didn't do that one. And then she came out with City Spring, and I fell in absolute love. And so I finished the first one. I'm going to do these all as one. I have a space above my door that isn't very big that I have that fits a rug that says Christmas perfectly. And that's still up there because I don't really have anything to put up there for spring. And I think this will fit just right if I do all 4. So they tend to be, you know, buildings and a car and some trees or whatever. So this was the first one that was released Friday a week ago. And it's just so cute. I just love it with all the little everything. And then this border will continue across, and the next one goes here. I just bought the next one today. It was released yesterday, and it's like a clock tower and a building and some umbrellas, which I love, a cute umbrella. And then we'll just, you know, keep on, and there will be 2 more, and I think they'll all fit just perfectly. And then I think I'll probably do spring below with the letters that she provides. So that will be really cute. I love the colors. I'm trying to do close to, I didn't have all the colors that she called for. So I'm trying to do close to the colors that she called for. But I really like that. Next in line, I have, yeah, I don't know. This is not going to get done for this year, and I'm probably going to put it away. I love the Tiny Towns by Heart and Hand. And so far I started with this one, which is the Valentine one. So cute. And I think I would like to do these as drums. And then I have the 4th of July one. And then I have the, is this summer? Yeah, this must be, it's called Blooming, but I guess it could be spring as well. And so it's over, I don't know why, I know why it's over here, because I ironed it, because it was so wrinkly. I have a whole big giant start on that. So there you go. Anyway, and then I started, for some reason, I thought it would be fun to start the Blooming one on like a 1 and do it as a 1/1 on 25 count. Sorry. And that's how far I got on that, because I had to do it in a hoop. So I don't know, I might change my plan on that and do that on a regular piece of, you know, like 32 count or something. I don't think the Valentine one is going to get any more work. Valentine's Day is Tuesday, so I don't think that's going to get any more work this year. Okay, I talked about this in the first video. I am doing a sal with Somi Sarah and I'm not sure how you say her name, Joanita. And it's the Rejoice Evermore sal by Brenda Gervais, or the Rejoice Evermore chart by Brenda Gervais. Now, I've done the Red House sampler, and it's long and narrow, but it looks very similar to this, and I think they'll be great companion pieces. So there's a red house in the middle. I'm looking at it. There's a red house in the middle. There's just a single bird on each side, and then letters kind of throughout. But I think they'll be just a great companion piece. So this starts on Valentine's Day. So I don't think I have anything planned on Valentine's Day. I'm using all of the called for, and I don't think I'm using the called for fabric though. Let me see if I am. What's the called for fabric? I don't think I was able to find it. Antique Lace by Seraphim. And what is this? This is, no. This is Bramble, Edinburgh linen. 1/4 yard, 36 count Bramble, Edinburgh linen. So it looks, I don't know if you guys, oh, that's a pretty good representation. It almost has it's gray, but it almost has a little bit of a lilac tint to it. Which I thought looked really good with, these are yeah, I think that'll look really pretty. I always think that like a lilac looks good with a brown. And there's quite a bit of brown and green, and yeah, so I think it'll be really pretty. And I think those reds will pop. I don't know how I decided on that piece of linen, but I do think, it might have been a piece that I had. Did she do it on 36 count? I was thinking normally, oh, she did it on 40 count. So I'm gonna have to make a decision if I wanna do it 1/1 or 1/2 or 2/2. And I'll probably decide that based on how that linen feels once I get to it. So I have this in a bag that I absolutely adore. But the booklet doesn't really fit in the bag very well. So, okay, so that'll be my start on Tuesday. What's next? Okay, so a little bit of a story. I don't know, it's not really a story, but I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this too. It's so funny, and I don't know if this is where I get my inspiration or whatever. I have always loved a Mirabilia, a Nora Corbett, Told in the Garden. What is the other one? There's one more of an antique style. Anyway, I've always loved the look of those, and I never really thought that I had the capability to stitch them. I'm not, I stitch in hand. I'm not I'm just not a great stitcher. I mean, I'm okay, I'm fine, but I'm not, like, I don't have the capability to stitch like this and make things as perfect and as great. And I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But I was years ago at a retreat and talking to a friend, and she had stitched and I don't know if they're Nora Corbett or Mirabilia, but they're the garden ladies, and there's one for each season. And they're just, one is sitting down, but otherwise they're like tall garden ladies, and they're sweeping the garden. Like there's a winter garden, a fall garden, summer garden, spring garden. And she had done one of them, and it was just beautiful. And she was like, they're not that hard to do. You could definitely do it. So I got the pattern, and my lady is, I should have brought it, is, you know, her face is done, like the upper half of her body is done. She has a book open that's partially done. It's not hard. I mean, it's not hard. It's time consuming, but it's not hard. And they're just so gorgeous. So then I was watching, I don't know, somebody that does, I found a new stitcher, well, we'll talk about that in a second. So I was watching somebody else that does a lot of like full coverage, or, you know, Mira's or Nora Corbett's or whatever. And she talked about collecting the charts. And so I just started kind of like going through, I had a few, but going through and picking out ones that I loved, that even if I never stitched them, I would love to have the charts, and that I would really like to stitch them. And Vanna's working on a Santa Claus it may be a Nora Corbett, I'm not sure. And now she's gonna start working on the deer. And it's just so inspirational to see people doing these things. And so all that being said, so I ordered a few from 123 Stitch. Well, then I think I got a newsletter from them or an email from them that there was a new pattern out, and it was, I don't think, is it called Nightingale? Yeah, it's called Nightingale, but it was based on Florence Nightingale, which is the very first nurse. And my youngest daughter is a nurse, and, you know, graduated from college in May and took her nursing boards and is a nurse working in an ER in Kansas City. And I thought, oh my gosh, well, I have to have that. And so without even thinking, literally went to 123 Stitch and ordered everything. And I think it wasn't even available yet. Like, I pre-ordered it. And it came the other day. And so it looks like this. It's called Nightingale. And it's just that does not give you, I mean, that doesn't give you really a great, I absolutely love it. And so I thought, well, I have to stitch that for Maddie, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it came, and I started on it. Now, I did struggle with the fabric. So it's, as you can see, it's stitched on a piece of green fabric, and I don't really get that because she's white and blue and yellow. And so I struggled, but I did find a piece of fabric in my stash, which I bet I don't have the name for here, that I thought would be just perfect. And it's kind of I don't know if it's gonna come out. It's kind of a modelly pale green. Now, I know this is hard to see, but this is all gonna be surrounded. So I think it'll actually look really good. So anyway, I started it, and, you know, it isn't hard. It's just time consuming, and I actually think they're just a lot of fun, and it's so fun to see the pattern come in and whatnot. And as I was stitching away, I happened to be texting with Maddie, and I said, hey, I got this thinking of you, you know, and I'm working on it. Do you like it? And, you know, would you like it? And I said, you know, just be honest, no hard feelings. And she wrote back and said, yeah, that's not my style. And I thought, you know what, that's okay. It's my style. I'll keep it. I'll stitch it for myself, and I'll always think of her. And I said, okay, no problem. I love it. I'll stitch it for myself. It'll make me think of you, and I'll put your name on the back of it so you can have it when I die, even if you keep it in a closet. Because my girls have started to label things that they want, and which I encourage them to do, because I don't want, like fighting afterwards. So anyway, I would like to put some stitches in that, and no end game on that, no time frame. I would like to do that and then finish it, and then always have, a mirror in the works, and always be working towards a finish on a mirror. So many of you may have heard that Julie McConnell, Reflections Framing and Stitching, moved her shop. So she now is literally as far away as you can be from me and still be in town. So she's about 15 minutes further, which is a ways. It's a little ways. But her shop is just stunning, outstanding. If you're ever in Omaha, you must stop by. It's a beautiful shop. Well, it was just weeks and weeks when she moved in before I could actually get out there. So I was able to get out there a couple weeks ago. Didn't need a thing, but found several things that I wanted. I did buy some fabric. I did buy some of Veriswap because I've never stitched with that before, and I'd like to try it just to do maybe some spring smalls. And then I happened to see, as I was getting ready to check out, a whole shelf of patterns by anwdesigns.com. So I'll show you the anwdesigns.com. And I asked Julie, I said, who is this? I've never heard of them. And she said, I know. She said, one of my distributors had their things and I ordered a bunch. And she said, I've started several and their charts are just phenomenal. And so most of them were florals with birds, and they were just stunning. And this was the most simple one I could find, and I love butterflies. So it looks like that. And originally I was thinking maybe I wouldn't do all the scrolly stuff, but then I couldn't. I ended up just starting with the scrolly stuff. I'm trying to think how that worked. I can't remember why. I didn't want to start in the middle. I don't know. So I got a small start on that. And right now, it's funny. Right now, it's with all of these bright oranges and yellows, which don't really look so much like the pattern, but I think the pattern's digital, so it's kind of hard to... There's blues in the middle of that. I'm excited to get to those blues. And then I'm just super excited to get to the butterflies. But funny story on that, Maddie was home for her birthday at the end of January, and she got to be home. She was off she had like 5 days off. So she was home for her birthday. And so one of the things I asked if we could do was to go to Hobby Lobby and get these threads, because for some reason I was at Julie's and forgot to get the threads. And it's quite the list. I think there's 33 or something. And so we went and I said, do you want to... I love having someone with me when I'm getting threads, because then one person can say, $7.29, and then the other person can grab it. And so I said, do you want to call or do you want to pick? And she said, I'll pick. So I was calling and she was picking, and they actually didn't have several of them, which was fine. But we got like 30 of the 33 or something, and paid for them and got a few other things and got them home. And I remember I asked the lady to put them in a separate bag, small separate bag, and she did, and got them home. And the next day, put everything away, and the next day went to pull the threads to get them ready, and gone. I have never found them. I tore the house apart. I think I threw them away somehow. I don't know. So I had to go back and get all of them, rebuy all the threads. So, maybe I'll find them at some point. Luckily, they were only DMC and not like expensive threads. Can't remember what's in this bag. Oh yeah, so my January 1st, I do enjoy having starts on special days. I love, Lori Holt does this so cool thing where she starts things on other people's birthdays. So even like her brother, she starts stuff on her brother's birthday or her son's birthday or her daughter's birthday, or I think she has a son. She may not have a son. Anyway, she starts things on other people's birthdays, and I think that's so fun. That's probably too many starts for me, just because I start too many things that I don't finish. But I do love having, you know, and of course I didn't have a Christmas Day start this year because we were away, but I would like to have, you know, a Christmas Day start, a January 1st start, maybe a birthday start for my kids, although I don't think I started anything on Maddie's birthday. Anyway, January 1st of this year, I started one that I've been wanting to work on for forever, another Brenda Gervais. Can you tell where my heart leads? Winter Rose Manor. I love every single thing about this, including that giant white house and that basket. Oh, so pretty. So, started it January 1st. I am doing this. So this is interesting. This is different for me in trying to stick with, you know, making it as much like this as possible. I'm using all the called for. I don't think the fabric's not the called for, but it's the same count. So she calls for a 36 count. And I know at one time it was really hard to get is it called conch, what is it called? The color for the house, the Weeks Dye Works color, it's this. I think that color is so pretty. See, I do like pinks. Oh, I love that color. I know at one time it was really, really hard to get that. It's not anymore. So, you know, because I'm like 2 years behind the times here. But I struggle a little bit with 36 count, and I guess it's not that I struggle, it's that it takes a little bit more concentration for me. And so I love this so much, and I know it's a giant piece, and if I were doing it on 32, I'd have to do 2/2, and then, you know, you're having to buy more thread and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really trying to stick with this on a 36 count. I am using 36 count Edinburgh Cafe au lait is what I'm using, which is kind of I don't even know what you'd call this. I don't know. It's beautiful, though. It's gorgeous. And I think all of the colors show up really well on it. So I'd like to spend some time on this actually today if I can. I probably won't have any time to stitch today with all of these videos. That's in here, which I think is perfect for another kind of little pinky house. But, oh my goodness, it's such a pretty sampler. And I would really like to get all 3 of these done this year. So that would be the Plum Street Rejoice, and then the 2 Brenda Gervais, the Rejoice Evermore and the Winter Rose Manor. Okay, and then tons of people do a stitch a day, and I started off the year really, really well working on my stitch a day, and then I forget, and I don't know why I forget. And then every once in a while my friend Colleen will be like, are you still working on your stitch a day? And but my stitch a day is this chart. It is by Victorian Rose Needle Arts, and I love the script of the letters, or the font, or whatever you want to call it, of the letters. I really love that little train at the bottom, and I would like to do that little train at the bottom for my father-in-law just by itself as a Christmas tree ornament this year. He loves model trains, and he doesn't collect them anymore, but he used to, and he's just a train guy. And but okay, this chart, it takes so much brain power because the letters are not even. So they're not, like, as you can tell, the C and the B, they're not even on the same line. Look at this E over here. And I have gone back and forth with whether I should make it, you know, fix it and correct them, and I'm not. I'm doing it just like it's called for. But boy, I've had some struggles with that. I am doing something really, really different. I'm using Classic Colorworks Cupid, which I love. And I'm doing it on this tealy, because I love teal and red together. I'm doing it on this tealy fabric. I am not doing the border, which is just a kind of a plain Jane border, because I didn't have enough fabric to do the border. You can see how close to the top I had to start. I love it. I think it's so pretty. And I don't know why I have been remiss in, you know, it's not that hard. And I typically get my work done and then I sit down and stitch. I get that first round of work done even before I let the chickens out. And I don't know why, I just don't remember to work on it, and it's so dumb. So anyway, that is my thread of the day. Okay, that's kind of what I want to work on for the next however long, I don't know, till I see a squirrel and decide I want to work on something else. There's more stuff, but that'll I'll keep for the next video, maybe in 2 weeks. I don't know. March and April could be a little dicey for videos, so maybe I can do one more before the end of February, and then maybe just one in March or something like that. We'll see. I'm sure there's a million more things to talk about, but let me get this downloaded or uploaded, or whatever you call it, edited and uploaded. And yeah, I hope you're all well. I hope everyone is finding some time to stitch. Coming into spring, maybe I heard the birds chirping the other day, and it was like 18 out, but it sure felt like spring. I mean, it sounded like spring. It didn't feel like spring. It sounded like spring. So that was some hope, right? We know no winter lasts forever. This has been a winter. Okay, guys, that's it. Have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.